Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is Mary for S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 14, Loving the Time of Hydra. And this was a great episode. I love this episode, and there were so many things I really liked this episode did. First of all, I really liked how this episode, they're starting to definitely humanize more of the people in Hydra, and I definitely really enjoyed that. Now, there was a point where I would say this was the best episode of the season, but still the mid-season finale still is the best episode of the season. This was by far the second best episode of the season. I loved it. So much great stuff. And wow, this is such a great episode. So let's just get into it. So we start off and Grant's back. Grant's back after a while, and it was cool to see Grant again because, as we know, Grant and Cal were talking about, possibly getting Daisy to join their team. So it was kind of interesting seeing where they were going to go here. Now, of course, Grant is now with Agent 33, who we actually find out Agent 30. I love what they do with Agent 33 in this episode, really. It might just be my favorite part of this episode is what they do with Agent 33. Because they're at a diner and Grant's ordering, the food and everything. And once the waitress leaves, Agent 33 admits that Grant isn't so bad. Now, of course, they really don't know each other as well, but I like seeing their interaction overall. And Grant notes that she saved him in Puerto Rico and nursed him back to health. And Agent 33 admits that after Whitehall died, she was lost. And a man comes in, and Grant and Agent 33 draw their guns and yell at everyone to get down. They then order the man Dr. Swellen to get up, and Agent 33 says that he's going to fix her face, which I honestly was really looking forward to because we've never seen Agent 33 in her true form, and what they actually do with her in this episode, I love seeing, but we'll get into that. Because then we get to the base, and Jemma is putting casts on Daisy's arms, and I have to say, I love what they're doing with Daisy here, because as we know, Daisy's sort of unaware of what's really happening to her, and she says that it will take a little while for her fractures to heal, and Fitz is there as well, and says that she may be going through growing pains, and he assures Daisy that he would never patronize her, and suggests she could develop Avengers-level powers. However, Gemma's complaining that it could be as bad as like the Hulk, which honestly I kind of agree with Jemma because think about it, she can shake a plane just from getting upset. It's not exactly the best sort of Avenger. It's not exactly the best powers. These are actually very dangerous powers, and it's very dangerous what Daisy's doing. It's also very dangerous for S.H.I.E.L.D. So basically, the plane shakes and Daisy gets upset by their arguing. She goes back to her cell, and Coulson then calls Melinda into his office and tells her about Andrew's recommendation that they remove Daisy from S.H.I.E.L.D. Because if you remember, he recommended that would be the best thing for them to do. And Melinda agrees, pointing out they have no idea what she will do next, and she knows that it's difficult for Coulson, but as as she admits, basically, she has no idea how to handle Daisy, which I can totally understand. I mean, they've never had to deal with anyone like Daisy. This is S.H.I.E.L.D. They're not the Avengers, and I like that they kept referencing that. That's definitely something I enjoy, and it kind of makes me feel like Daisy might make a cameo in the Avengers. I kind of feel like she's going to help out the Avengers in some way. Now, I know this is the Inhumans, but they have hinted at the Inhumans being in Infinity War, so I definitely could see that happening. So, basically, he figures that she'll figure out a way and tells Melinda that it isn't Bay Ryan and they know what they're dealing with, and Melinda doesn't believe it and warns that Daisy doesn't know herself anymore, which she really doesn't, if you think about it. I mean, she just now became aware of her powers, and she still doesn't exactly know what she's doing, so I definitely do agree with Melinda that she really doesn't know who she is. So we go to the hotel room and we see Swollen, who created the original mask that Agent 33 wears, and he's applying contact lenses and embedding a chip to restore the hologram matrix, and her face is completely restored, which I love seeing, and basically Swelvin has her duplicate his face as a test, and Swelvin then tells Grant that the mask should be fine, and warns Agent 33 that the mask can only store 3 faces at a time, and when he says that she can always revert back to her old face, she grabs him and she says she'll never go back to that. And you can see that she's really afraid of going back to her old face. And Swalvin points out that she can be anyone she wants, and just let Grant find a photo from before the accident. Grant admits that he doesn't have one and doesn't even know what she looks like, and figures that they just wait for the right time to reveal the truth. And I really love this scene because they're humanizing Agent 33. They're making us care more for her, because up to this point, we've seen Agent 33 as a villain. You know, she's cloned. She's been like a clone of Melinda. She is sabotage Melinda's plans, but we're actually humanizing with her, and I actually sympathize with her. I feel bad for Agent 33. I mean, she doesn't want to show her real face, and she's very she's very self-conscious. And just knowing that all of that, everything she did, was because of how self-conscious she was, I love that. I think that was a very good twist, and I think it was handled really, really well. Definitely really enjoyed that. So Mac escorts Lance to a conference room where several people are waiting, and Robert Gonzalez comes in and greets Mac and tells Lance that none of them wanted what has happened. Now, of course, as we know, Mac and Bobbi, we learned, are running a second shield, or as they call it, the real shield. So it was very interesting seeing where this was actually going to go, because basically Robert sits down and says it's about leaders being accountable to the people they serve, and Lance isn't impressed by this at all, and basically he explains that they founded the real shield with the intention that it operate with transparency, and basically because Nick Fury apparently kept too many secrets, and Lance agrees. However, he points out that Nick Fury's not dead, so Robert warns that Coulson's heading down the same path, and he's kind of worried that what happened to Nick Fury is going to happen to Coulson. So Lance concedes that Coulson isn't perfect, but figures that he isn't so bad, and it is true that he has hid a lot of secrets, but I do see Robert's point here that what he's doing is not exactly the best thing. I mean, think of how many things Coulson is unaware of what's actually going on. He doesn't know about the Inhumans. He doesn't know about this stuff yet. He doesn't know, Sky's real name. He doesn't know that she's actually Daisy. He's so unaware of what's going on, and he's a very good leader. I'm not saying he's a bad leader. He's a great leader, but he definitely is very unaware of what's going on. It could potentially hurt the group. So Lance figures that Bobbi wouldn't buy into their conspiracy theory, and just as Bobbi comes in, sits down next to Mac, he pretty much thinks that this is just that he pretty much thinks this is Mac trying to show off to Bobbi to make it seem like, because that whole love triangle thing is going on. We knew they were hiding something, but he pretty much thinks that this is just like a love triangle, basically. That it's just him showing off to Bobbi and trying to impress her. But that's not what's going on, because Lance complains that they didn't discuss things alone and then tells Robert to go on, and Robert says that Isabella saved his life from Hydra and her death could have been avoided if Coulson hadn't pursued the alien X-Things, which is true. That could have been prevented. One of the other agents, Weaver, points out on the other deaths that have involved Coulson and the transformation of Raina and Daisy. And basically, Robert figures that Coulson has been changed by the alien DNA that Nick Fury injected him with, and asks Lance if he shares any of their concerns. And that is true, because if you remember, Fury basically had the alien DNA, and this could just be why Coulson is like this now. So he asks Lance if he shares any of their concerns, and Lance concedes that they have a few points, and Robert says that they've had Bobbi and Mac getting intel, and Bobbi believes that they're right, and Coulson has been compromised, and I think that's just a really well done the way this is going. And in his office, Coulson's then going through files on Nick Fury's black box, and Jemma comes in with a case and assures Coulson that it's all there. She hesitates to give it to him. She doesn't really know if she should give this to him, and she's warning that there are possible repercussions if she does give this to him. Now, she's, of course, unaware of the other shield, but she is getting, I definitely feel like she's going to figure out, because Gemma's really smart. She knows what's going on. He then goes to see Sky in her cell and says that, Daisy, he goes to see, I do that every episode. I call her Sky, her name is Daisy. He then goes to see Daisy in her cell and says that they need to take a ride. Coulson can't tell her where they're going, but he advises her to pack a bag. And I really love the next scene between the two of them, but then we go back to Agent 33. Because Agent 33 is thumbing through a magazine and adjusts her face to various photos, and Grant comes in and says that he's going to get another surprise for her, assures her that it was important he make sure Swelvin didn't talk, and as he goes, Agent 33 tells him that he has to stop. She misses she has nothing to give him in return, and Grant says that's not what he's doing. She thinks that he's, basically flirting with her, and honestly, I kind of want these two together. I think that he shows a very good concern for her. I think Grant's good for her. He's showing her, that she shouldn't be afraid of who she is. I honestly think those two would be really good together. And he's telling her to be patient, says that he'll be back in a couple of hours, and I really like that overall. So Coulson and Daisy then fly to their destination, and I really love the conversation that these two have here, because he apologized for what she's been through, and he hands her a Twizzler, and they eat, and this basically is the exact opposite of what Bobbi and Mac think is going on. Exactly what they just said to Lance, that is complete bullshit because of this scene. Because once they finished, Coulson says he remembers his father had him help fixing a car, and once they had finished fixing that car, he realized that the car was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. And Daisy realizes that he's talking about Lola, and assures Coulson that his father would be proud of him. And Coulson says that at the core, Lola is still a car, even if it flies. He then says that they're almost there. I thought that was really funny when he's talking about his car, and Grant then returns to the hotel, and Agent 33 comes in and says that she realized what she could give him, and her face now looks like Daisy, and she kisses Grant, and I'm just like, no, this is not what he wants you to do. He doesn't want her to be Daisy, he wants her to be herself, and he kisses her back for a moment, then draws away and says that it isn't what he wants, and I like that he told her that, no, this is not what I want, and Agent 33 says that he doesn't have to pretend anymore. But Grant says that Daisy made him clear that the feeling between him wasn't mutual after she shot him, and it's true. She wanted nothing to do with Grant. Grant liked her, but she just did not like Grant. And I like that Grant realized that. He's not going after her. He's not upset about it. He just accepted the fact that, okay, she doesn't like me. So he assures Agent 33 that it's okay. She's very shaken at this point, and she said that there's still a chance they can be together if she's herself, and you can tell that she likes him. You can tell that she has a crush on him and wants to be with Grant, and he wants to be with her, but he just wants her to be herself, and Agent 33 says that she was before, that what she was before is gone, and wiped away by Whitehall, and leaves the room. And I just thought this was just a really, really well done scene, definitely. So Mac then talks to Robert that they've been telling Coulson that Lance is out drinking, and Robert tells him to tell Coulson that Lance has moved on, and once Mac leaves, Bobbi assures Robert that she would tell him the truth no matter what she and Lance have between them, and Robert says that they will be keeping Lance on the base until they resolve the Coulson situation. So, my only concern here is that Coulson, there's not really anything going on with him that they should be worried about. Because this whole talk he has with Daisy, I honestly think that he does know what he's doing. They don't seem to think he does know what he's doing, but I think he does. So Grant then tells Agent 33 he knows what she's going through because his family stripped him down and someone came along and built him back up as a killer. Once he was locked up, he got some perspective and went to see his family, and Grant says they expressed their feelings, and he hasn't looked back since. You know, because he realized that he wasn't a killer. He wasn't a bad guy. He didn't want to be a bad guy. And I just thought overall that was really well done, and he takes Agent 33's hand and says that she's the only one who can find herself. And Grant then gives her a photo of Sunnel, says that he's in Talbot's custody, and suggests that they pay him a visit so she can let Sunnel know how she really feels. And Agent 33 then says that she can't, but Grant assures her that they'll do it together, and she agrees. When she wonders how, Grant says that he's worked out a way to get to him and hands her a wedding ring. Now, their plan, I actually really like what they do here, because she goes in as disguise as Talbot's wife, Carla, and she claims that she can't find her ID, and the soldier offers to call Talbot, and get things resolved. And Talbot's then in his office describing riding lawnmowers to his Lieutenant Decker. When the soldier calls from the security desk, the general brings up in the camera and tells the guard to send his wife up. So Coulson takes Daisy to a cabin that Nick Fury used as a safe house for people with powers, and he then tells her he's pulling her from active duty. However, Coulson assures her that there's a video link and Melinda will drop by every couple of days, and he advises Daisy to use the time to get a handle on her abilities and take a pair of gloves out of the case. Now, the wiring inhabits Daisy's powers, but Coulson warns her that there are some side effects and there are some things she should be worried about. And Daisy says that she needs him to be her friend and asks what he would do. And Coulson admits that he doesn't know, but insists that he can trust her. So you can definitely see that Coulson is unaware of what's really going on. He doesn't realize what Daisy's becoming. He doesn't realize how powerful she is. And honestly, I kind of agree with Bobbi and Mac that Coulson is not the best leader. Coulson knows what he's doing. He just isn't completely aware of everything. And I think it's really well done that we're seeing that. So Agent 33 removes her coat and wig, revealing an Air Force uniform beneath. She assumes a new face and goes to a computer room, shutting down the video cameras, and Grant approaches a guard as he tries to get the feedback and draws a knife. So Carla calls Talbot and says that she's stuck in traffic, and he realizes that they have an intruder. He can tell right away this is not his wife. He orders a lockdown, warns Decker to be careful of anyone that looks like him, and Talbot tells a soldier to contact Coulson. He knows that they now have a mole and warned them that the nanomask is in play. He then has all female personnel brought into a briefing room and explains that they have a mole who posed as his wife, and This right here, this was so intense, and I loved this. I love what was going on there. It was really well done. So Mac returns to the base. Melinda asks what's going on. She points that he's been out babysitting Lance and now he's back. Of course, he can't tell her what's really going on. And Mac says he's been keeping Lance out of bar fights and he's in no shape to return. And Melinda notes that Lance went AWOL. He suggests that he might sell S.H.I.E.L.D. secrets, but Mac disagrees. And Melinda asks if Bobbi was there, and when Max says that she wasn't, she tells him to report to Coulson and leaves. So at the cabin, Coulson takes Max's cell and tells Daisy that he has to head back, and he assures her that it's temporary, he'll be back in a couple of days. They share a hug, and Coulson promises that they'll figure it out and goes. And I really hope that this does work out, because I really do love Coulson and Daisy's bond. I mean, he really is the father. He really is like a father to her, and it's great to see that. I just love their bonding overall. He's always been like a second father to her, and I just think their bonding overall is just really, really great, and I really hope it's not ruined. Um, because I kind of do see Daisy going to the other Shield. I definitely could see them, because I mean, they could give a really good points here, and I can think of some really good points. I mean, Coulson has no idea what Daisy becoming. He doesn't know her real name. He doesn't know half the shit that's happening to her. So if they really wanted to, take Daisy on their side, I could definitely see Daisy doing that. I just don't want their friendship to be destroyed, because I love the bond that they have, but I definitely see that happening. So at the base, Talbot is questioning the female officers, trying to determine which one is the mole, and he comes to a female computer technician, tugs on her face, but it doesn't change. And now Agent 33 is disguised as a short male officer at this point. She finds Grant, takes him to Sunnel, and she reveals her baseline face and says she's following her orders. Sunnel tries to reassert her compliance, but Agent 33 punches him unconscious, and as Talbot and Decker leave the room, Carla arrives, and Talbot assumes that she's Agent 33. He draws his gun at his wife, who has no idea what's going on. Talbot soon realizes that she's the real thing, and their plan worked really well. I definitely really enjoyed that. So Bobbi comes to see Lance and apologize. She hoped to keep him out of it, but admits that she blew it with him, and Bobbi explains that she never thought that he'd stay, much less care, and they had to bring him in when Lance started asking questions, and Lance figures that their marriage couldn't have worked anyway, since it started with her trying to get intel from him, and points out that she was always had a hidden agenda. And Bobbi insists that there was no hidden agenda with him, and Lance says that they both can walk away and start new lives. And after a moment, Bobbi says that she needs to finish it, and Lance says that he's leaving it, and tells her to not stop him, and says that she won't, and he goes to a door, knocks out the guards. Lance makes his way outside, only to discover that he's in an underwater S.H.I.E.L.D. facility. Bobbi and two more guards arrive a minute later, see Lance leaving off in a submersible pod, and I don't know where he's going, but definitely he has some sort of plan. Where he's going, I don't know, but there definitely is more to what's going on. I think it's actually really interesting what's actually going on there. So Coulson returns to the base and tells Fitz that Daisy's location is confidential. He assures the scientists that she's safe, and once Coulson leaves, Fitz asks Jemma what she took to Coulson earlier, and I really love this conversation that they have, because she says that it was something to help her, and Fitz accused her of wanting to change Daisy. And Jemma says she wants to fix Daisy. She changed when she got her powers. She just wants to fix her and make her more aware of what's going on. And she points out that Trip died because they didn't take the necessary precautions, which is true. I mean, everyone ignored Trip. No one really cared what was going on with him. That's why everyone always was like, why didn't they give Trip something to do? Because they simply didn't pay attention to him. That's really what it was. I mean, they're trying to pay more attention to their agents now, and they weren't paying much attention to him before, so you can definitely see why he died. And basically, Fitz figures that she's just scared of how he and Daisy changed, and says that the scariest change is hers. He walks off, unaware that Mac is actually listening to the entire thing. Now, what do I think Mac's going to do? I think Mac's going after Jemma now. I think Mac's going after Jemma. He's going to have Fitz go to their shield, because Jemma is a lot like Coulson. She's very smart, yes, but she's kind of unaware of what she's doing and is not the best person to be helping Daisy. It honestly is not her business to help Daisy. Daisy has to figure out what's going on her own. It's not Jemma's decision to do that. I understand she wants to be a good friend to Daisy and everything. Great, but it's really not your business to help out Daisy. She needs to do that herself. So Matt calls in that they have a situation with Daisy, and Weaver reports to Robert and the others that Lance escaped and disabled the GPS. They figure that he'll reach the coast in 12 hours. They have no idea where he went. Robert tells them that Coulson has put Daisy into hiding, and Bobbi assures them that Coulson is doing it out of concern for Daisy. And another of the agents, Cal Duran, accuses her of letting Lance go. Robert trusts Bobbi's word that she's committed and asks her how she wants to proceed. And Bobbi says that Coulson and his secrets are the threat, and it's time to remove the threat. She offers to go in, says she only needs 6 hours, and basically seems like she's gonna take over now, which is gonna be awesome to see, and I can't wait to see what happens there. Now, the post-credit scene we get in this episode might be the most adorable post-credit scene we've gotten, honestly. This was pretty adorable. Because Agent 33 is studying her scarred original face in the mirror. Grant comes over, and he literally reintroduces himself to her. It was really sweet overall we had. I really like this. I thought it was really sweet. He's saying that it's nice to meet her, and Agent 33 says that her name is actually Kara. This is her real persona. Her name is Kara, and she hugs him and thanks him for his help, and Grant assures her that she did it, and Kara agrees and says it's a long night, and they go to where Sonol is strapped in front of a brainwashing screen. Sonol asks if his compliance will be rewarded if he obeys, and Kara tells him that it won't make a difference, and I don't know what they're planning on doing, but oh my god, I really do love these two together, and I just love what Grant did for Kara. It was great to see. So overall, guys, amazing episode. Absolutely love this episode. So much to talk about. What is Bobbi going to do with Coulson? I don't know how she's going to discover his secrets, but she knows that he has these secrets, and she's going to somehow... I don't exactly know what she wants to do here, but we'll see what happens there. Lance. Where is Lance going? Where is he going? Is he leaving S.H.I.E.L.D? Is he going to join the other S.H.I.E.L.D? I don't know. I'm very interested in seeing what's actually going to happen there. Daisy, I definitely feel like they're going to try to get Daisy to join their S.H.I.E.L.D. because they're more accepting. They know more what she's going through. They're more experienced with this kind of thing. I don't really know what's going to happen to Daisy, but I think what's going to happen to Daisy is that she's probably going to have to choose between Coulson and everyone else, because I'm pretty sure, here's what I think is going to happen. Everyone is going to leave except for Fitz and Coulson. Those are going to be the only people left, because Jemma and Coulson, because Jemma, I just feel like she is like Coulson, where she's kind of naive of what's actually going on, while Fitz knows what's going on. He's more aware of what's going on. I definitely feel like that's what's going to happen here, and if that's true, that's really interesting. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen if they do that. As I said, Fitz, I think, is going to be recruited to the other S.H.I.E.L.D. I really feel like that's what they should do here. Just bring Fitz to the other S.H.I.E.L.D. because they know more of what's going on. They're more aware of what's going on. And it honestly would be better if he went to the other S.H.I.E.L.D. Definitely, I could see that happening. Is Daisy really gone from S.H.I.E.L.D? Is Coulson going to bring her back? Is he going to regret what he's doing? I kind of feel like he's going to regret it, but she's going to leave him, and it's just going to be too late. When he decides to bring her back, it's just going to be way too late, and it's going to be really sad for all of them, but honestly, it's going to be Coulson's fault if that happens. If Daisy goes back to... If Daisy goes to the other S.H.I.E.L.D. and Coulson then tries to bring her back, it's going to be his fault that she left, really. That's what it all comes down to. Grant and Kara, I want these two together. I really do. I love these two together. I love what he did for her. I think it is great what he did. I don't know exactly where they're heading with this. I feel like it's connected to Cal, but I'm not sure. I feel like Cal, they're going to work with Cal. We know that Cal is that huge group, and they're still out there, and I definitely feel like they are going to work with Cal because, of course, they are part of Hydra, and I could kind of see the new S.H.I.E.L.D. becoming the new Hydra. I really could see that happening. I mean, Hydra definitely is not that big of a threat anymore. The new S.H.I.E.L.D. is a bigger threat. But the thing is, it's a good threat. It's a good thing what they're doing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing what they're doing. And it could be seen as a bad threat, but it's a good threat, and they need to understand that. But overall, guys, absolutely love this episode. Just really loving this half of the season. Second half of the season already is better than the first half. Loving it, and let me know what you guys saw this episode. That's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in my next video, which is my review for Arrow. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.